Hello guys! It's been 5 weeks since the new split started. Riot changed all the items and touched a couple of runes. Many champions have new builds now, and ADCs are not an exception. In this video I will talk about 9 best yet uncommon builds for different champions, so you can pick them and win a lot more. Get ready and enjoy! Let's start it! Let's talk about BT rush uses first. BT wasn't nerfed as hard as other items. Its shield got reduced a bit in 14-18, but other than that it's mostly the same. This item is in a much better position now. For example, it's decent for Draven. Other crit items doesn't fit him well, especially after 14-20. He needs a lot of AD and he is ready to sacrifice some crit chance and the scaling for it. However, in games where enemy team doesn't have many tanks, lethality will be a much better option. It gives a lot of cheap damage and helps to snowball. Both Ghostblade and Who Is First perform better on average, and it's getting even more ridiculous on second item. These lethality options have around 5% rune rate more than other common options for Draven. And it's not only that, they are also a lot cheaper for the most part, which means that you will get your other items much faster. So, for the build, I recommend to pick Draven mostly versus squishes and stick to lethality options, because that's where this champion shines the most. If you are an OTP and wanna play only Draven, BT or EA first are decent options versus tanks, but not nearly as good as lethality overall. About his runes, it's pretty simple. For crit builds, Lethal Tempo performs the best. Draven likes a bit of attack speed, and that's what Lethal Tempo gives to him. Triumph is better than Presence of Mind in all cases, and you should definitely stick to it. If you are playing lethality, Hail of Blades also performs decent, and it will be a good choice. Alright, another interesting champion is Miss Fortune. Same as Draven, she likes lethality and it will be the best build in ideal situation. Ghostblade into Collector is her best build, third item is optional. However, she likes crit chance more than Draven, so some crit items can fit her pretty well. Essence River first performs pretty good after 14-20 changes. It gives some AD and a cheap crit, which helps with scaling and a smooth transition to second item. About BT4MF, it's not really good, you don't really need its passive. You can easily reactivate your W if something damaged you. Also, lifesteal just sucks early. You don't have enough damage to heal that fast, and your DPS will be much lower in general. So, best MF crit build is Essence River first into EE second. Third item is optional. About runes, with crit build you wanna go PTA, Presence of Mind into Triumph, Alacrity and something between Cut Down and Carved Grace. Secondaries are just Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm. For lethality, you are switching main page to First Strike with Boots, Cookies and Cosmic Insight. Very easy. Now let's talk about Ashe. The most common item is still Kraken for her, even despite insane nerfs in third split. Its damage on passive got heavily reduced and it's not worth anymore to build this item. Ashe has plenty of options instead of Kraken. For example, another popular but much better item is Statikk. It gives better stats, cool passive that helps with push, and of course it's cheaper. Ashe is not a DPS champion in most cases. You are an utility champion that helps your team. However, if you need to DPS, Yun Tal first looks like the best option for Ashe. Yeah, you heard me right. It showed good results even in 14-19, when its build path was very underwhelming. Now it's a lot better and you can definitely rush it for Ashe. Another cool item is BT. It was always a good option for Ashe. She doesn't rely on crit at all, so BT won't feel bad, especially when it comes to second and third item power spikes. You can build it if your only goal is to survive. In such case, Trinity is a very good option as second item. It gives plenty of good stats and move speed after autos. Looks pretty good for Ashe. About runes, Lethal Tempo is the best keystone rune without a doubt. All small runes are decent for Ashe and have similar win rates. The only thing is to not take Legend Haste. Other than that, choose them depending on the game and your preference. Secondaries are Boots and Approach Velocity, nothing unusual. Jinx, she has almost the same situation. Kraken is the most popular for her, yet it's not nearly the best option. For example, if enemy team has many squishy champions and they won't stack any armor, you can go Collector into Opportunity. Before 14-20 it wasn't that good, but right now it's a decent option. In most situations you wanna go either Statikk or Yun Tal first. Both these items shows good results and they work pretty well for Jinx. For second item you will go attack speed most of the time, either PD or Runan. Rapid Fire Cannon is not good and I wouldn't recommend buying it. Third item is optional. For runes, Lethal Tempo and PTA both looks fine, so you can choose them depending on the game. Next, you will go Triumph or Presence of Mind, Alacrity and any rune from last row. In secondaries, there are a lot of options. You can go Inspiration with Boots and Cookies, Sorcery with Gathering Storm and Celerity, Resolve with Conditioning and Overgrowth. You can even play Domination with Treasure Hunter and Eyeball Collector. It's all good. Lucian is also a champion who has plenty of options. Essence River, Collector, Voltaic Cycler Sword, Botrk, even Yun Tal looks decent for him. You can pick any of these items first and feel yourself pretty comfortable. For example, if enemy team has a lot of squishes, you can play Voltaic Cycler Sword into Collector, or if there will be a lot of trading and you will need mana and ability haste to trade and kite, Essence River also works fine. However, his second item choice is much easier. Yun Tal looks insane as second item for Lucian. Double auto passive and 50% crit chance are perma-proccing Yun Tal's passive and significantly increasing your damage. Lucian loves cheap crit items that gives him AD, and this is what Yun Tal does. Third item is optional. You can take either EE, BT, armor pen items, or go Navori or AFC. It's your choice. His runes are standard ones: PTA, Triumph, Alacrity, and Cut Down. Cookies with the boots in secondaries. Now, let's talk about Botrk. Blade of the Ruined King itself should work good for champions who have some sort of execute abilities, like Twitch E on full stacks, Varus W, etc. The problem is, Botrk doesn't give that much stats, and its passive is underperforming. Sure, it looks strong, especially if you're starting to auto some full HP target, but the lower target's HP, the less damage you will deal to him. In certain situations, you cannot even finish a kill, despite having a good damage in the first 2-3 seconds. I think it happened kinda often with you, when you played Varus or Twitch and enemy ADC just survived on a low HP. So yeah, Botrk is good only in situations where enemy team has a lot of HP stackers, not tanks. Botrk doesn't work versus high armor targets, only versus HP. So, with this in mind, I will show you builds for Botrk users. Varus. I would advise you to go crack it before, but it's not good right now. Rage Blade or Statikk first are Varus' best items. They give better stats and passives. For second item, if you want Rage Blade, you can go tier minus, PD or Runan. All of these items works great and have similar power level. Just choose the best in your situation. With that Statikk, you're just going Rage Blade second. Nothing to explain here. Third item is optional. You can build any on-hit item or BT Shield Bow for better survivability. His lethality build looks weaker than on-hit, and I wouldn't recommend playing it. Before I will go to his runes, it's worth to mention that W Max is performing a bit better with on-hit builds, so I would recommend to at least test it. Runes are Lethal Tempo, Triumph, Alacrity and Cupped Grace. Secondaries are Resolve with Conditioning and Overgrowth. Kalista, another champion that is suffering from Botrk. Rage Blade looked better in the last split, and it didn't change in this split. It's your best first item option. For second item, you can play either tier minus or Runan. For some reason, Runan is very underrated for Kalista, especially in high elo games. I personally didn't see any pro play games where Kalista players went Runan. I'm not sure why. You can apply more spears and deal all your damage instead of single target. Sounds great, doesn't it? Third item is optional, but just like Varus, she can go BT and Shield Bow for durability. BT looks pretty good, and it's clearly an underrated item for Kalista. For runes, it's pretty similar to Varus. Lethal Tempo, Triumph, Alacrity, Cupped Grace, and either Domination with Sudden Impact and Eyeball Collector, or Resolve with Conditioning and Overgrowth. Twitch is one of the best Botrk users, but not because it's his best item, it's just people playing with it in most situations. I don't have any data about him except Collector, but I think Yun Tal could probably work for him. It's hard to say. Collector is performing better than Botrk on average, but you need certain situation to use it. If you wanna play for early game, roam around and be proactive, Collector with PTA is your best choice. If you wanna scale and play for late game, Botrk or Yun Tal with Lethal Tempo should work great. Other runes are the same for both builds. Overall, take Triumph, Alacrity, Cupped Grace or Cut Down with Eyeball Collector and something between Sudden Impact, Treasure Hunter and Ultimate Hunter. Kog'maw is also have interesting situation. If you will go to any site right now, you will see that Botrk looks better than Rage Blade. Is it right? Yeah, site shows you true stats all the time. But why Rage Blade win rate dropped that hard, even if it wasn't changed that much? It's easy to answer. Players created new hybrid AP Kog build and it got popular. Nash's Tooth as second item has 52% win rate and deflating Rage Blade win rate by a lot. Don't get me wrong, Botrk is also a decent option for Kog'maw, and he is clearly one of the best Botrk users. But Rage Blade is just better on average. So, for the build you wanna go Rage Blade first into Runan or Navori or tier minus second. Third item is optional. If enemy team has some HP stackers, you can put Botrk first and then go these other items. Also, Kog'maw has AP build, which is very strong even in bot lane. You can max E first and play Ludens into Storm Surge and some other AP item third. With this build, you wanna go Arcane Comet into Mana Flow, Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm. For on-hit build, it's standard Lethal Temper, Triumph, Alacrity or Bloodline, and the Last Stand. For both rune pages, Resolve second with Conditioning and Overgrowth is the best. These builds will help you to have more fun with your champion and of course feel yourself stronger. If you liked this video, please press like and the subscribe button. It motivates me a lot. Thank you and goodbye!